Hey guys, this is Michael the Comic Nerd here, and welcome to another episode of Mike's Indie Corner. On today's episode, we are taking a look at a little game called Master Reboot. Okay, now before I get into this, I guess I should kind of explain, I apologize for the blue light, I'm uploading the Ant-Man review right now, so that's why that's there. I need to explain how I stumbled into this game, and how I realize I have, I guess, reviewer withdrawals, because after I finished the I Am Bread review, I realized, like, crap, I'm out of requests, what else do I review? And I kind of went through withdrawals for a little bit there, like, I got twitchy, I need to play something, give me a game to play so I can review it. So I went on the Steam page, off I go, and off in the corner it said the recommended games list, and this is the first one that popped up. I took a look at it, watched the trailer, it's like, okay, this looks kind of interesting, let's go check it out. And the results are mixed. This is very much like Karma Flow in that there's a lot of potential here, story-wise, and mostly story-wise, I want to say. But a lot of it's kind of squandered, mostly by the climax of the game. A majority of the problems I have with the game are towards the final act of the game, because it feels really out of place. It feels kind of shoehorned in. It kind of ruins a lot of the very interesting themes and ideas that were present in the game up to this point. That's really where the biggest problem lies, is in that third act. Up to the point, though, it's a fairly good game, because the concept of the game is relatively simple. Now, you are stumbled into this mysterious world, you don't know who you are, you don't know why you're there, but you realize it's very Tron-esque, it's very technological, it's clearly some kind of virtual world. And you find that out very quickly the more you explore it, and it has some kind of obsession with rubber ducks, but that's neither here nor there. I think I kind of explained that, but not really. It's some kind of childhood thing. But anyway, I digress. But then you find out you've stumbled into the Soul Cloud, which is like a online community where you get to upload enough information on a person, so you get to upload technically their soul onto a virtual world where you can visit them at your leisure. But some kind of massive hack / crash has happened, and a lot of the data has been lost, and a lot of people are upset about it. And spoiler alert, I'm not really spoiling that much. It kind of tells you pretty early on that you play the head of the company trying to track down somebody who I can't say because that is giving away too much. There's a lot of interesting themes here. It does question the ethical standpoint of this. And there's a lot of teases, you find these symbols scattered in each one of the individual levels. Because how it works, they drop you into this big virtual hub, and you give it all these different levels you can go into and explore, and each one represents a memory, or a really warped version of a memory. And you have to solve puzzles by exploring the environment. And those mechanics work good. It usually requires mostly a lot of just run around, a lot of trying and clicking, see what you can interact with, see what works, see what doesn't, and a lot of messing with stuff that way. One of the puzzles I figured out completely by accident, which it's so statistically improbable I would have solved this puzzle, because it was a number code, a 4-digit number code, and you had to go to some kind of wall to decipher it, but I couldn't figure out how to decipher it. So I just started putting numbers in at random, and I got it right! I still don't know how I did that. I got it right! It didn't even take me very long. I don't know how the fuck I pulled it off. I really don't. It's confusing to me. But I digress again. But first off, I do want to give us one thing I was surprised by this game, and I don't know why I didn't get this from the trailer. I really should have picked up on it, but I guess I just wasn't paying that much attention, is the fact that at its core, this is an adventure horror game. And I didn't know that going into it, so when I found that out, it got me a couple times. At first, if you don't know it's a horror game, going into it, yeah, you'll be scared. Because, holy shit, why is there a teddy bear attacking me? Fuck, run away. I mean, there's some ideas there that they're really clever to work with, and they really play along with the horror aspect of it. But problem is, as the game goes on, they do become very predictable, they do become very mundane, and they become okay, you can stop this. You are constantly haunted from beginning to end, but it's this weird, virtual ghost girl, and it's kind of mysterious who this girl is. And you also see these strange symbols everywhere, where every time you click on one of them, you get this really horrible, like straight out of hell image with some kind of vague notion that, like, kind of implying that this soul cloud you invented is like a virtual purgatory, which is a very clever idea if they went all the way with it, but they don't. And that's kind of the problem with this game. It's like you have a lot of great ideas here, but they don't follow through with all of it. And they should have. You do have the suggestions that where you are is this like virtual purgatory, which is a very interesting concept. And I can't think of a game that has explored that concept before. But problem is, it doesn't explore it to its full extent. There's a lot of great ideas here. There's great themes of kind of how this whole thing is a way so that the main character doesn't have to let go of the people she's lost. And it's also just a great metaphor of just the struggle of letting go and whether or not it's the right thing to do. The problem is the game completely avoids this question by the end of it. It completely avoids it and just has a kind of just generic boss battle that feels shoehorned in there. Like, the problem is, like, you have these kind of creepy-ass characters and ideas in place, but they completely ruin their mystique when it's revealed what they are. And you kind of realize, like, and I hate to say this because it makes me feel like an arrogant ass, but, like, the ideas that I had about who these people were, what these things were better than what the game gave me. Because I was thinking, like, oh, is that, like, a virtual fragmented version of her sister? Oh, sorry, spoiler. That is coming back to haunt her and doesn't, like, blames her for, like, destruction of virtual world. But no, it's something completely different and much more simple. I was like, oh, is this like some kind of hacking, some kind of coding that's, or maybe just something spiritual? That's why, like, that's some kind of hellish entity that's telling her this is purgatory? No, it's like simple, mundane, and kind of boring. Oh, okay. That's it? That's all you got? That's all you got for me? That's all the best you could do? That's the best... I don't know. I feel like you could have done more with the concept you had there, with the seeds you planted there. You could have made this game with a much stronger message. But no, they kind of took the easy way out, and the ending is kind of stupid, and there's this whole timed platforming stuff. And I'm noticing a pattern here with games that try to add fast-paced platforming segments onto games that are not designed for that. Like, especially like in exploration adventure games like this. This is not meant to have a fast-paced jumping section to it. And there's like 2 or 3 of them in this. And I was like, no, stop it. Your game is not designed for fast jumping shit. And those are the most frustrating parts of the game because the mechanisms were impossible to control. You can't control, like, you can't tell how far you're gonna jump. You know how consistently you're gonna jump. I fell off so many fucking times. And, like, there's one section in particular where, like, it was clear that this felt like one of the more shoehorn levels in there. There's a plane level where you have to try to be sneaky so this, like, stewardess person doesn't catch you. Problem is, there's only one other place to hide, and no matter where else you try to hide, this person will always find you. So it becomes this really annoying cat and mouse chase, and it's, again, really fucking annoying. And again, some of the other smaller stuff would have been much better if they just left it unexplained. I mean, like, the purgatory thing, you didn't need to explain that. You could have left it in there just as a metaphorical thing. It would have worked fine. And there's even, like, I guess the animation stopped as far as, like, the actual explanation of the real-world events go. I guess they didn't have the budget, or they didn't have a proper animator to, like, animate the, like, more real-life actual people segments. So they're all done by, like, a 2D artist, which is fine. I mean, the drawings are okay, and it works fine for the way the telling the story. The problem is they felt the need to explain that, too. I was like, no, you didn't need to explain that. It was fine the way it is. And it's like, it's kind of the problem that, like, like a movie that came out in John, like, well, okay, I'm drawing a blank, but the point is the fact that when you try to make an explanation for something that does not require an explanation, that is when you start asking questions you would not ask before, and that's usually the part where the story starts falling apart. Like that's always like a big problem. A lot of people's like, no. There is a point when you need to stop telling and just show it. That's why I like games like Gone Home and like other adventure games like that, is because like it doesn't need to explain every little bit to you. It expects you to be able to piece together the other subtleties of the story by just paying attention. And like this game could have easily done that, but I don't know. It felt like either the audience wouldn't get it, or I don't know what. But I felt the need to explain a lot of these things, and that really is what ended up killing the game. Is like These things did not need to be explained. It did not need to go as detailed. It did not need a final boss battle. It did not need a lot of these things that are there, but it does, and it does kind of squander the experience. Now, that being said, I feel like I'm shitting this game a lot. It's not a bad game. It's not. It just could have been better. Like, I really like the style. I like the Tron-esque designs. The puzzle stuff works pretty well. It's not the best puzzle thing I've ever played, but a few of them took me a few tries to get right, so it's doing something correct. There are some genuinely tense moments. There are some genuinely tense, like, chase scenes and stuff like that, where, like, the horror elements mix well with the gameplay elements. And like I said, there's a lot to like by this game, but so much of it is just ruined by the last act. So yeah, I think that's really off to say of Master Reboot. If I had to give it a score, I'd give it like a 6. I want to give it higher, but like that last act really just takes a lot out of it. If it wasn't for the last act, I'd probably give it like an 8. Like that's how much the last act just kind of ruins it. So that's Master Reboot. I think on the agenda for later I have another request from Bailey Tice for, I have it downloaded here. What game is it? To the Moon, which is, of course, a very well-known indie game at this point. I'm like halfway through it right now. Really like it so far, so look out for that review in the near future. I think I still have to review the latest episode of Life is Strange, too, just to kind of keep up my trend with that. And, yeah, I think that's all I got for this review, so thank you all for watching. See you next episode of Mike's Indie Corner. Take care.